I'm very excited, guys. Spring has fucking sprung, and I'm outside recording my first outdoor podcast of the year, outdoor YouTube video. Very exciting times. I've got my little muff on my microphone so that the wind doesn't get me, and I've got a lot to talk about today. So, if you are new here, by the way, my name's Sophie Waddington, and on this channel I do talk a lot about manifestation, but today I'm going to talk more about mindset because there is a very important topic that I want to talk to you about that is really affecting my life, and I suspect that it's affecting yours too. I'm in the full throes of having a midlife crisis. Hurtling towards my 40th birthday. I'm actually 37, but we're on the wrong side of 30. And I am just really craving going back to the old life, like 90s, early 2000s life, where we actually lived in the real world and we didn't just live on our phones all the time. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to start off by giving you a little update about what's actually going on in my life with regards to that. So you can fast forward that if you want. Maybe I'll try and put a chapter marker in. Never done that before, but I'll try this time. But yeah, I've just been having this feeling of where I really, really want to experience that feeling of having a simple life and that nostalgia of being in that version of the world, which is very, very different to the one that we're in now. And I think my generation is unique in that we experienced both worlds. Like, we experienced the first half of our life, or maybe the first third of our life, in a world with very, very little technology, where technology was new and it was exciting. It was just like this amazing tool that was just starting to come out. So this one where it's still amazing and it gets more and more amazing, but amazing like, oh, that's amazingly dangerous. That we rely so heavily on technology for everything, particularly our smartphones. So for me, I just really want to get back some control over that because I can see how negatively that is affecting my life. And smartphones and digital stuff is not going to go away. Technology is only going to keep getting better and better. And it is incredible. Like, there's so many amazing things about it. But I think that we have to become more aware of like how we're using it and if it's using us. So this all started with like a bit of a, and I do see the irony in the fact that I've found all this online, by the way. Um, like getting down a bit of a rabbit hole of like 90s, 2000s decor, in my house. I felt like my house was really boring. My house is lovely. I live in an apartment and I really, really like it, but it's very, very bland. And it was like reasonably modern and just like not much character about it. And I was like, I just really want to make it feel welcoming and cozy and a little bit old fashioned. So that's what I've done, guys. That's what I've done. Starting off with a chimney breast with a fireplace and a plug-in electric fire. I know. I'm in a middle floor, so I couldn't have a log burner because obviously that's a fire hazard. But I have got this like really old-fashioned looking electric fire. I've got a wood, like an orangey kind of wood fireplace, 15 quid off Marketplace. And I've just been going around like charity shops and looking on Facebook Marketplace or like on eBay and decking out my house with stuff from years ago. My particular favourite is that I've got some granny curtains, some proper granny curtains. Like, they've got frills on, they've got tie-dyes. So this is what's making me think it's a bit of a midlife crisis, but I'm not mad. I am not mad at it. And already I'm just feeling much more calm and much more like enjoying being at home, and like my mornings are starting differently. I just feel very settled, I think is the word. And it's not even finished yet. So that's where this came from. And then that escalated to thinking, do you know what? Because I watched a few YouTube videos on like decorating your home like that. I came across a video that was talking about getting rid of your smartphone. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get rid of my smartphone. I'm filming on my smartphone. I have an iPhone, and I need it. I need it to make YouTube videos, which is one of my favorite things to do. I need it in my general life. However, I don't need it anywhere near as much as I use it, and that is all fucking day, every fucking day. So my screen time is literally disgusting. I'm appalled with myself at my screen time. It's getting up to like 8 hours a day sometimes. 8 hours is a day. Like that's the vast majority of a waking day. And a big chunk of that for me is actually not on YouTube, it's on TikTok, Instagram, a little bit on Facebook. So I don't need to be doing that all the time. And I sort of kid myself into thinking, well, yeah, you need Instagram because you've got to post on your Instagram account for your podcast and your YouTube listeners and watchers. But actually, there's ways of doing that without me constantly scrolling all day because realistically, that's what I'm fucking doing. Okay. So, anyway, during one of my rabbit hole scrolls, I came across a video and a collection of videos about going back to a more analog way of life, as in not relying as heavily on technology. And a big part of that being getting rid of your smartphone, or at least like not using it all the time, and switching to a dumb phone, which was a new term that I hadn't heard, but it basically just means the phones that we used to have. So like flip phones and, Nokias and things like that. So I did a little bit of research and I've ordered one. It's on the way. And I even, because I felt like I need everything next day, I was like, no, you're going to just wait for it to be shipped in 5 to 7 working days. Regretting my choice now because I really want it to arrive. But um, I've ordered this phone. So I'll put the phone that I've ordered on the screen for you so that you can see it. I think it was like 30 odd quid, 30, 40 quid. And I'm going to put my SIM card in it. And my plan is that I'm going to then use my dumb phone as my phone that I use when I'm out and about, and I'm going to leave my iPhone in the drawer at home and use that as I need it, more like a tablet. So, for example, like when I need to go on my online banking, when I need to film a video, when I need to, I don't know, whatever other things I do on my phone, which is like literally everything. But day to day, I want a phone that I can not be glued to because I really am concerned that my life is passing me by, like literally passing me by, and I am just watching everything through a screen. And that is just very, very unhealthy. And I want to stop that now. So I've been really trying to focus on that for the last maybe 2 or 3 days of like really reducing my screen time. And I can already feel a big difference. And the biggest difference is the perception of time, because a day to me now feels really quick. It's like I get up and then nothing really happens, but then suddenly it's dinner time, and then suddenly it's tea time, and then suddenly it's night time, and I feel like I've not achieved anything. I've not really done anything that's brought me any joy. I mean, I do certain things, but really other than like going for a walk, I'm not getting anything done that's productive, and I'm also not even enjoying my time. And I really feel like that's to do with the amount of time that I'm just staring at a screen all the time. Since I've been doing that, and since I've been trying to avoid carrying my phone around like it's a dodie, like I'm a baby walking around with a dodie, I've really like experienced time differently. It's felt much slower. The only thing I compare it to is like, do you know when we were kids and the 6 weeks felt like a really long time? Like the days just felt really long. It's not as long as that, but it's felt much more like that. So I'm getting to 12 o'clock and I feel like I've had a full day. Like I've been doing little bits, I've been pottering around my house. I was knitting this morning, guys. I'm knitting a scarf. I actually do like knitting, but it's something that I never do because I'm on my phone instead watching other people knit. Um, so I did a bit of knitting. I did watch a YouTube video because I'm allowing myself to watch YouTube still, while I transition out of my addiction to social media. And I just listened to some music. I made myself some breakfast, and it was still like really early on, and I felt like I'd had a really nice morning. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me so far. Full into a midlife crisis and really enjoying it. So now I'm going to move on and I'm going to talk about like the reasons why I think this is important for us all. Okay. So there were some habits that got me into this way of thinking where I thought I actually need to change something here because this is becoming a problem. And the main things were the fact that my head is always down here. Like my neck is turning into ET. Like I'm growing a neck outwards instead of upwards. And that is the same for everyone, I think, because we're just constantly looking down at our phones and we don't notice anything around us. So that was the first thing. The second thing was I was, like I said before, finding that my phone is just glued to my hand all the time. I don't leave the room without it. I was finding that I'm getting up for a wee in the middle of the night and taking my phone with me. Like I can't even have a wee in the dark in the middle of the night without scrolling on my phone. That is ridiculous. One of the worst ones was lying in bed and scrolling on TikTok, and my eyes are closing, I'm falling asleep, and my thumb is automatically moving on its own. It's swiping on the screen while I'm in like another world. That's alarming to me. And generally, I felt like I'm getting dumber. Like, I feel like the more smart my phone is, the more capacity it has, the more usable it is, the more functions it has, the less I am able to think independently and be creative and come up with ideas and solve problems on my own without its support. And that is very alarming. So, obviously, to live in a modern world, you do need a smartphone to some extent. And that's because we've become so heavily reliant on them for everything. We use them for calendars, we use them for notes, we use them for our contacts. There's no more yellow pages or phone books or anything like that. Information, there's no such thing as an encyclopedia anymore. We just get everything online. We use them for our maps to get around. We don't even use like TomToms and sat navs anymore. We use the maps on our phone. We use them for notes, for reminders, for shopping, buying things online. That's another big thing that I do a lot of. We use them for accessing our money, for doing online banking, for passcodes to get into anything that we need. There's even an app, like, because I live in apartments, there's an app that I can get on my phone to buzz people in. Like, I press a button on my phone to buzz people in. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, guys. I'm not doing that. If somebody rings my doorbell, I'll go down and I'll open the door and see if I want to let them in. So everything is so heavily reliant on apps that it's become much more than a phone. It's not really a phone anymore. The phones were there to ring people up, and that's probably the last thing that anybody does with them anymore. I don't ring anybody up. Maybe my mum and dad, that's about it. But I don't ring any of my friends. I don't ring people up. I text them. I'll send them memes. I'll send them reels. I occasionally voice note them if I really like them. But that's it. Like, we're losing our connection. So the phone is not really a tool anymore that we are using. It's something that's using us and we're just reliant on it. The master has become the servant. The tool that was designed for keeping us connected is probably causing more disconnect than anything else has before it. And I remember watching this program called The Social Dilemma, which, if you've not seen it, highly, highly recommend that you watch it, and recommend that you watch it with your kids as well if you've got kids, because it's sort of aimed at a full family. But it's something that I watch every year. And one of the key messages that I took from that documentary was that if a platform is free to use, then you are what's for sale. Your attention is the product. And people are bidding and paying a lot of money for your attention via ads and things like that. And that really made me think, like, wow, how much social media is designed to be super, super addictive, to keep you on that platform for as long as possible. And something that I noticed once I'd tried to put my screen time down, this was the first time that I'd ever watched it, I tried to reduce my screen time immediately because I was like, fucking hell, that was scary. I noticed that, like, if I leave my phone next to me and I don't pick up the notifications that maybe I normally would, it will start to generate random notifications. It'll start saying, oh, did you know you've got a coupon for this shop? Or it's such a body's birthday next week, why not connect with them? Or throw up a page that it suggests that I follow, or why don't you add this friend? It's like it generates any random shit to get you to click back onto the app, because all of these apps are vying for your attention because your attention is for sale. Something else that they talked about on that documentary was how all of these big social media platforms hire people with the sole purpose that they research through like human behavior and psychology which shade of red and which like decibel of, I don't know if that's the right word, but which noise to use for notifications to get the most people to interact with that notification. And it's so true, isn't it? Because we associate all of these sounds with different notifications on different platforms. We know when it's a WhatsApp message, we know when it's an Instagram DM, we know when it's a Facebook Messenger, and we've not actively learned what each one of those sounds means or what each of those like little coloured symbols that comes up means, but we know them because we've been conditioned to understand that that means there's a hit of dopamine on the other side. And so when we get a notification come through, we're like slavering like Pavlov's dog, trying to run to open our phone because that means somebody's liked our picture or somebody's sent us an email or something like that. And it just causes this very unhealthy obsession with checking our phone hundreds of times a day. And you can actually go onto your screen time and see how long you spend on your phone, on which platforms or which like things that you're doing on the phone. You can also see how many times a day you pick up, which is alarming. And it just goes to show that we're just doing this completely unconsciously on autopilot, picking up our phone non-stop. It's the first thing that most people do in the morning before you've even had a wee. You're up and you're checking your phone, you're looking at your emails, you're opening all your Instagram DMs, you're opening your Facebook notifications. And particularly if you work online and, you post online like I do, that's even worse because the chances are you're going to have a lot more DMs, you're going to have a lot more notifications because you're posting things and then people are responding to them. And that's how you're starting your day, is by interacting with all of this stuff on a screen instead of giving yourself just even a few minutes to be present in waking up and starting your day. I've got a few statistics for you that should genuinely concern you. And I'm sharing these because they concern me and they have helped me to think, no, I actually really want to take this seriously and I do want to change this because, like I said before, this is not going to improve. There's not going to be a time where social media just disappears or we just like go back to not having technology. It's only going to get more and more, like, all the things with like meta glasses and all that. And then they're talking about this thing where you're able to wear a pair of glasses and you're just basically scrolling in the air like on some kind of sci-fi film. That's going to happen. It sounds ridiculous, but it's going to happen. It probably already is. We've got fucking self-driving cars. This is all coming, and it's up to you to decide whether you want to be consumed by that or whether you want to take back some sort of control and also have a human life as well as using technology. So the average person picks the phone up 90 times a day. 90 times. And then stays on it for who knows how long, depending on what they've opened. But the fact that we are picking up our phone 90 times a day and unlocking it to look at our screens, our human attention span is now, wait for it, 8 seconds. That's what our human attention span is on average, which is less than a fucking goldfish, babe. Less than a goldfish. So we've only got 8 seconds of attention to spend on something before we are inevitably distracted by something else. And that's happened through us being trained to constantly seek something that gives us immediate gratification and that entertains us quicker and faster and brighter and more colourful than the last thing. So our brains are constantly distracted looking for the next best thing that it can get some dopamine off. 8 fucking seconds, babe. And the final one is that the average person spends a total of 13 years on the phone. But it gets worse than that, guys. It gets worse than that because that's like the total hours. So if you think about that in waking hours, not like the hours where you would be asleep, that equates to like 24, 25 years of your life staring at a screen. 24 years. That's fucking wild. looking at a screen for 24 years. That's really scary to me. And actually, I'm probably above average on my screen time because I'm always posting on different platforms to do with the podcast as well. But mine's probably more like 30 years, at least. I'm already 37, guys. I went to Amalfi last year and it was absolutely stunning. And we had a private boat for the day, me and a bunch of girls that I was there with. And one of the girls, when we were walking down from the villa that we were staying at, she'd forgotten her phone. And we were all like, like, horrified that she'd forgotten her phone to go on this private boat on Amalfi. Now, I had the fucking best day. Like, it was so good. But I did take, I'm going to say, upwards of 100 photographs, right? And little video clips and stuff. And this girl, who we were all horrified for, she was very present. Like, she didn't get her phone out once because she didn't have her phone. And she still had all the photographs of everybody else. And I really, like, felt a little bit jealous. Not jealous. I felt a little bit envious of her on that day because I was like, I could put my phone away now, but I know that I'm not going to. Like, I'm going to take loads more pictures because it's so gorgeous and so beautiful. And obviously, we all want to share these moments and keep them. But most of the time, we're taking photos for other people. We're not taking them for us. We're taking them to share with other people so that we'll get likes, so that we'll hear that ringtone that the notification bell makes and be like, dopamine. Like, that's realistically what we're doing, isn't it? If we're honest. So let's talk about connections with other humans in person as well, because I think this is really important. And this is something that I've noticed myself doing that a few years ago I would have been really, really judgy about. And now I'm horrified that I'm doing it myself. And that is like getting your phone out and scrolling when you're with other people. You know, like you're at a restaurant, you're at a coffee shop, or you're out and about with someone. That's fucking poor. And I have done that on many occasions and I do not want to continue doing that. I was thinking about this because I've got a friend who I see quite regularly and I really, really enjoy his company. Like, I really enjoy the nights out or the walks or whatever we do. And I was sort of thinking about why that was, and obviously it's because he's a really sound guy. But aside from that, he doesn't have social media. So because he doesn't have social media, he really doesn't go on his phone very much. So he can converse, you know, he has the capacity to hold intelligent conversations and we just have like a really good connection because of that. Because if you think about when you go on a night out, say, or when you go out for a meal, if somebody gets their phone out, then your instinct is that that's like a permission slip for you to get your phone out and start scrolling. And then that's it, like the barrier's been broken and you're just on your phones all night. Whereas obviously with that person, I'm never going to get my phone out and start just scrolling on Instagram because that's rude as fuck while he's just sipping his pint like quietly. Like, I wouldn't do that. So the result of that is a really, really good night where you feel like connected to somebody and you feel like you've had a good conversation and you've enjoyed it and you've like made good memories because you've been living in the real world instead of just through your phone all night. So just like notice that when you're out and about. Do you do it? Do you see other people doing it? Make an effort not to do that because we're losing the ability to have connections with people, and it is because of our phones. And it's not just with our friends either or our family, it's also like in dating. So something that happened to me a few months ago was I was out in the pub, right? And I saw this guy at the bar. I didn't know this guy. And then later on in the night, when I'd gone home and he'd gone home, we matched on Tinder, right? And he was like, "Oh, I was going to come and talk to you, but like, I felt a bit awkward." And I was like, this is bad. This is really fucking bad because we are losing our ability to like speak to each other in reality, in person. We're losing that ability to speak to people. And this like culture of dating online and Tinder and Hinge and all the other ones, it's just like such a throwaway thing. Like, you've got unlimited options of people. There's always, you're just going to refresh it and there's going to be some more. We swipe right on somebody and we match with them. You say hello and this fucking dry ass conversation. And then you inevitably get bored and unmatch with them because there's a million more. So it's this very, very throwaway culture that is detrimental to relationships. I am a relationship person. Like, I love being in a relationship. And now I've been single for so long because I don't want to get into this shitty form of relationships that are what they are now, because I'd rather be single than get into something that's not real, or that people don't put an effort into, or that people don't care about the other person, or don't make any attempt to get to know them or to overcome differences. I just don't want to do it. So there's so many of us, especially like my age, that are just single because we view relationships that are actually really, really positive and a really good thing for humans, to be with another person that loves them and that cares about them and supports them and keeps them in check. We're viewing that as a negative thing. And we're all like collectively getting the ick on each other and thinking, oh, fuck that, I'll be on my own forever. That's not good, really. Like, we are meant to be with people. That is the nature of humans. But we all just don't want to get into the shit show that it is. So we need to get back to actually having conversations with people and giving a shit about other people in real life, instead of just talking online and thinking, oh, well, they've done one thing wrong, so I'm going to fuck them off because the grass will be greener over there. No, the grass is greener where you water it. And it's important to not be overwhelmed with this unlimited choice. Even like, if you're going on Netflix, how many times have you been on Netflix? You think, I just really fancy watching a film. And then you spend like an hour trying to choose something on there because there's just so many options, you don't know which one's the best one. Well, that's the same with relationships. There's too many available options and it's causing disconnect, not connection. Relationships, friendships, everything with another human being, they require attention, they require energy, they require effort, they require patience, and they are worth all those things. They are. But we are just looking for that instant gratification and that quick hit of dopamine, and it's leaving us all as singular beings with no real connections to other human beings, and that is very fucking sad. Which leads me onto this other alarming sort of dynamic that we have with other people, which is that we have this feeling of entitlement to everybody's attention all the time. We think that if we send a message and they've opened it, they should be texting you back straight away. But on the other side of that, if you get a message and then you've opened it by accident, you feel like, oh shit, I have to message them back straight away. We live in this world where we feel very entitled to immediate contact with other people, and we don't. We're not entitled to other people's attention or time immediately or all the time. Nobody's entitled to a message back off me straight away. I'm not entitled to a message back off somebody else straight away. We really need to understand that just because you can see somebody's online doesn't mean that you're entitled to hear back from them immediately. Texting people and waiting for the reply, leaving people on read is seen as this negative thing. It's like you're being rude if you've opened a message and you've not immediately responded. You have a missed call and you ring them back straight away, or you get another missed call and another missed call. Liking your friends' posts so that they don't get offended. Constantly checking if you've got an email and responding to it straight away rather than just responding to your emails once a day. Tracking people's locations, that's odd to me. I know it's a bit of a safety feature for some people, and that could really be a good thing. But should we know where everyone is all of the fucking time? I don't think so. I think we need to be bringing back being on our own sometimes, being uncontactable, leaving people on red, like, not permanently, just for a day or however long you need to feel like you are mentally ready to respond to them. We need to get out of that culture of feeling like we've got immediate and unlimited access to everyone all the time, because it's very overwhelming. We're not supposed to be interacting with so many people in a day. We're not. We are sharing energy between us. When we speak to somebody, or when we're around somebody, or when we're talking to somebody, we are interacting with that person's energy. And sometimes we need to just take back our own energy and recharge and like go in our house and turn our phone off and not answer the door and just be on our fucking own for a bit. That's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. We were much happier when we had to find somebody's number in the phone book and ring them and leave a answer phone message, or when we had to memorize somebody's phone number and ring them and ask them if they were available, or when we had to go and knock on for them and see if they were coming out. And now it's just like a constant source of interaction with people, and you'll have people message you, and then if you don't message them back, they'll message you on another platform. Like, leave me alone. So over the past couple of days where I've been trying to, like I said, reduce my screen time and live a bit more in the real world, I have been focusing on being more creative. And being creative is something that makes me very happy. And I think it makes most people happy because by our nature, we are creators. Like, that's what we do. And that's sort of our purpose here, is to just keep creating things. And if we don't do that, we feel quite disconnected. And creativity is not about being good at art, it's about putting some effort into making something. So that could be a podcast, it could be a YouTube video, it could be knitting a scarf like I'm doing at the minute. It'll take me till fucking next winter to knit it, but it doesn't matter. Painting a picture, it could be building something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could even be making children if you're so inclined. Whatever it is, that creation over that massive amount of consumption is really powerful because it brings you back to the present moment, and it makes you like remember that you are alive in the real world and you're not just an online digit. I can actually pinpoint days, and this is sort of sad in a way, I suppose, because I have a very happy life and I feel like I really do enjoy my life. But the fact that I can pinpoint days where I have been the happiest is worrying, because it means that they are not the norm. Do you know what I mean? They are like the exception to the rule. And those days have always been when I've been having really good conversations with people, when I'm, whoops, when I'm outside in the sunshine, in nature. I think I've got a bit wonky. Hang on. I'm still wonky. There we go. When I'm outside in nature, and when I'm doing something creative, those are the points, the days that I am the happiest. And those things are all like completely free things to do, is to connect with people, to be outside and to create something, because it doesn't have to be like something expensive. So it is true what they say, the simple things in life are the things that bring us the most happiness, and yet we spend so much of our life chasing after certain things and performing to impress other people. If we're honest, that's what we do. And something that I found I was doing, which again was another one of those like, oh shit, I need to do something about this, was because I'm like very into different hobbies and I like art and I like crafts and I like doing all of these things, or I think I like doing them. Well, I actually do like doing them, but is I'd think, oh, I really want to start making something out of clay. And then I would go on TikTok and start watching people making these gorgeous things out of clay and painting them and having a lovely time. And my brain is like tricking me into thinking I'm doing those things. And actually, I'm not doing them. I'm watching some other fucker on TikTok doing them. That is not the same. I'm still consuming and not creating. So maybe you can relate to that, in that you have some sort of intuitive idea and think, oh, I'm going to do this thing. And because we live in this world where there is so many ways to do things and videos and constant explanations and more information about every single subject, what you actually do is you spend time just researching it and watching other people doing it and not actually taking any action on it. And so we don't get any of the joy out of it or any of the progress from actually getting better at something. We're just constantly learning and watching about it and never doing it. Now, another tool that I think is really, really incredible and also fucking terrifying is ChatGPT, because ChatGPT has not been out very long at all, really. And in that very short space of time where I have had access to it, I become more and more reliant on it. You could look at anything I own, but I'll tell you right now, you're not fucking looking through my ChatGPT history, because that person, it's not a person, it's not a person. That robot knows everything about me because I ask it fucking all sorts. I ask it how you cook a chicken. I ask it, why am I like this? I ask it, how can I fix this? Everything about my life, I run it by ChatGPT. And I really want to stop that because it's making me thick. It's making me not have to problem solve. It's making me not have to actually look for answers of things. Like last night, a random thought popped up in my head. And I was trying to remember the name for the Super Bowl. Don't ask me why, I can't remember. But I was trying to remember what the name was of the Super Bowl and I couldn't remember it. And I had to fight the urge for a good hour to not just ask ChatGPT or Alexa. There's an Alexa over there. It's going to start talking. I was like, no, no, you're going to think about it. You're going to remember it because I'm losing cognitive skills through constantly seeking the help of a robot. And that's not good. It's a great tool. I'll tell you the best way that I use it now is like an actual productive way is I write out all of my notes in my journal for a podcast episode or a YouTube video, which is one and the same thing, by the way. And then I take a photo of it and ask it to arrange my notes into a reasonable sequence that will flow and isn't just all over the show. That's a good use of ChatGPT. Asking it to add 2-3 digit numbers together is probably not. Like, at the very least, use a calculator. Do you know what I mean? Because as we ask it questions, its brain is growing and our brain is shrinking. So we really need to get back to, thinking independently of AI. My bloody camera keeps falling over. So something else that I want to talk about is how comparison is the thief of joy. And I touched on this a little bit before when I was talking about Tinder and this like throwaway culture of dating and nobody putting an effort in anymore and everybody just getting the ick off one tiny thing and fucking somebody off instead of actually like trying, is how social media is constantly presenting us with this false version of what human life looks like. So when you see pictures of people online, it's the highlights of the life. So yeah, it is the life, of course, but it's only there's a plane over there and it looks like a dinosaur. Probably wouldn't have noticed that if I was scrolling on TikTok. It's the highlights of the life. It's the very, very best bits that have been curated to be presented in a certain way. It's been filtered, it's been altered. Everything you see online is a 2.0 version of real human life. And that's fine unless we start comparing our own life to it. Because when you're seeing pictures of people getting engaged online and maybe you're single and you want to be engaged but you're not, and you're comparing yourself to that, you're not seeing that maybe those two people who are in a relationship don't even fucking like each other, but they're just going with the motions. You're not seeing the reality of their life. You're seeing the highlight reel. When you see pictures of a perfect family on a nice day out and they're all enjoying their ice creams, you've not seen that those kids have screamed their tits off all day and I spilt like Ribena all over the car seats and there's been a big argument. For fuck. The irony that I think I've just cracked my screen. Really hope that microphone didn't fall out before, because otherwise you won't be able to hear a goddamn word I've said. But you're not seeing reality, and the problem with this comes in when you start judging your life or maybe even not doing things. So let's say that you see a girl in a swimwear on the beach and she looks absolutely amazing. She's got a perfectly round ass. She's perfectly tanned, her skin's smooth as fuck, all of that stuff. And then you put your cosy on and you start thinking, I've got fucking fat rolls and I've got cellulite on my ass, so I'm not going in the sea today. I'm not going to go and enjoy my holiday because I don't look like that person online. That's a problem because neither does she. She doesn't fucking look like that, babe. And even if she did, it didn't matter. But she doesn't, because everything's filtered, everything's adjusted to portray it in a certain light. Do not allow a comparison of something that is online to affect the way that you live your life. I am not an influencer. I would not consider myself as an influencer. However, I am aware that I have a large audience, particularly on my podcast, not so much on my YouTube yet. So don't forget to subscribe. But I really want you to listen to these words because I know that my words do have influence and people tell me that all the time. I get messages saying, "Oh, I did this that you spoke about on the podcast or the YouTube and it's changed my life in this way," which is amazing. If I can influence you to do one thing, let it be this: live your own life. Don't watch other people living theirs through a 4-inch screen. Make sure that you're enjoying your life. You don't have to document it. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Go and fucking do the things that bring you joy, that make you happy over anything else. That's the most important rule of the game of life, is to fucking enjoy it. Somebody that I do enjoy watching online is Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know him, but he's a pretty cool guy. He's an entrepreneur and he does a lot of like media stuff, and I find him very interesting. I think I've got a bit of a crush on him actually. Something that he pointed out in some of his recent videos was that social media is changing. It's no longer social media, it's interest media, meaning that rather than the algorithm showing you the people that you follow and their content, it's now actually showing you the things that you're interested in, which serves to keep people on the internet and on social media platforms for longer and longer because it's tailoring it to your interests. So you might be friends with your Auntie Mildred, but you're not going to see the trifle she's just made because you're not fucking interested in trifles. You're interested in mountain biking. So you're going to see mountain biking one after another because the algorithm feed, and even the word feed is interesting in it because you're literally sucking on the teat of the algorithm and it's feeding you whatever it goddamn likes. So you're going to see what's going to keep you online for as long as possible. But I just want to point out to you that those things that you're watching, you could be doing in real life. You could be going mountain biking instead of watching 500 videos of mountain biking. You could be knitting the scarf instead of watching 500 videos about how to knit a scarf. So I just really want to encourage you to think about how much you are consuming compared to how much you are creating or doing in the real world. Now, finally, I just want to talk about overconsumption, as in like the things that we buy, because I feel better and I feel clearer when I have less stuff, yet I'm often buying things online. And they generally don't tend to be the things that I need, they tend to be the things that I've seen online and that I think, oh, that'll give me some dopamine. So I buy it with one click using Apple Pay. And because of the function of things like one click and next day delivery and Apple Pay, it really encourages us to be constantly buying shit that we had no desire for other than seeing it online. If you have got Medicube wipes or whatever they are in your basket, that's because Molly May said that they're good, and now you're seeing them all over your Instagram feed and you feel like you need them when actually you had no desire for them before. There is all kinds of random shit that I have bought off TikTok shop that I've used once or, used a couple of times and I've thought, oh, I don't really want that now, but it's just in my house because I saw it and buying it gave me the dopamine hit. So if you actually had to go out, drive your car to the shops, and get out a purse full of cash, would you be going out for a gua sha brush? Just thinking of one of the random things I've got in my house. Probably not. Probably not. You probably won't buy it if you had to do any more than click 3 times because there's no resistance between seeing something and buying it now. I've been having a lot of fun over the last week or two going to charity shops. And I have been buying a few things online, but off Vinted. I've got some really nice granny curtains off there. Just if you feel like you buy a lot of shit online, maybe try doing that. Like go to a charity shop and have a nosy round because there's loads of good random stuff and it's never the same thing twice. Instead of just constantly ordering shit online, because that again is more overconsumption. And the reason that we do that is because we want the dopamine hit. We want that instant gratification. So even on like when we're watching the telly, we're fast forwarding through the adverts. We are watching videos on double time. It's like we need more and more and more. The fix is never enough. We always need more of it. So if that's the case, then we have to come away from the drug that is social media and our phones and start to seek dopamine in real life ways like sunshine, conversations, good food, and creating something, sharing a nice meal together, doing things that are real life stuff gives us dopamine. It's just not as quick. And to get some sort of control back over our lives, we've got to force ourselves to seek it from other means instead of these cheap hits that we're getting online all the time. So everything that I've talked about today is costing you. It's coming at a big price. It's coming at the cost of your attention. Your attention is the biggest tool that you've got when it comes to manifestation and law of assumption. I know I've not really talked about that in this episode, but I'm telling you now, you need attention in order to manifest. And if you're struggling to manifest something, it's because of your lack of attention. That's probably why, because we are losing our ability to focus on one thing. So it's costing you your time, your potential, the future that you would choose in the long term rather than in the next 30 seconds. It's costing you relationships, connection. It's costing you your mental health. It's costing you your happiness. So I've got a few questions that I'm just going to leave you with at the end of this video. And if you have found this useful, I would love you to share it with someone. I'd love you to leave me a comment so I can get one of those red notifications and that ding and slaver like a Pavlov's dog. But no, I would love you to subscribe to this channel because I am creating videos more and more, and that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this. Is my big goal is to focus on YouTube, and I'm finding that it's even hard to do that because I'm so constantly distracted by my phone. So using it as a video camera instead of as a means to distract myself with, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to post even more content, especially long form videos. So come and subscribe to this channel, and I'm just going to leave you with these questions. When was the last time that you sat in silence for any more than 30 seconds? So I'm talking about sitting outside, maybe just sitting quietly on the couch, no podcast, no video, no music, no notepad, no phone, just sitting with your own thoughts. When was the last time you did that? The second one is, do you think you could go a full day without any social media? Because you might find that harder than you think it will be. But it's an interesting experiment to do. Could you delete the social media apps off your phone for one day and still have your phone, but see if you can survive without those? The next one is, do you check your phone first thing before you do anything else when you wake up in the morning and last thing before you go to bed? And is there a way that you could interrupt that pattern so that you can start and end your day differently, more intentionally and more consciously than you are doing? How many good ideas, exciting, intuitive ideas have you had that you've never actioned because you've first decided to research them? My chosen form of procrastination is research too. So how many of those ideas have come into your head and you've actually never brought them to life because you've decided that you're going to look into it first by scrolling on your phone, looking at videos related to it? And finally, when you get to your final days on Earth, will you feel like you have lived your life, or will you feel like you have watched other people living theirs? Deep. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spending all of your attention with me. I hope that you spent it well, and I hope this video helps you to make some positive changes and start to become more aware of where you actually are being used by your phone and you're not using it, so that you can actually start to really enjoy and live your human life. And I will see you in the next video. See you later.